My WAEC and JAM student, this is your question, and it goes this way. Two functions are defined, f of x square root of 4 minus x squared and g of x 1 over x plus 4, where x is a real number. The first question thrown at us says that what? Find the largest domain and the corresponding range of each of the functions. It actually means that what? We are going to find the domain of this function and this, and also find the corresponding range. Thereafter, we are asked to look for what? The G inverse, then FOG inverse, our G of F inverse. Like it is in our tradition here. We'll solve part of the question and leave the ones that we believe. If you have been following and you understand what we are doing, you'll be able to solve the question we'll be leaving for you. So we'll solve question 2 Roman figure 1, then question 2 Roman figure 2, then 1 and 2. You'll be left with the third question to water your tongue. So let's go. Remember, we said in the first video when we're treating inverse function, we said that what? For a function to have an inverse, the codomain of that particular function must serve as a domain for the inverse of the function. So this question has asked us to what? Find the domain and also find the range. Though the question never asks us to find the word, check whether the function has inverse or not. We just say that to remind us that what? There is a factor for authenticating or confirmation of what? Existence of inverse of a function. Now let's quickly start. The first one here, we have what? F of x is giving us square root of 4 minus x squared. Now remember, if you get this domain, the easiest way to get the range or the codomain is to find the inverse of this particular function. When we find the inverse, we now check under real number whether what the range is going to be. Now, a quick one, we say, okay, for this, the domain of this function, f domain, is what? Now, if it's a real number, it's all the negative numbers and all the positive numbers. The rational numbers, the irrational numbers are here, but there is a curve in the wheel of what? Progress here. And what it is, look at this. We have 4 minus what? X squared. If we plug in 1 here, 4 minus 1 is what? 3. Now, if you put in what? 2 here. 2 square is what? 4. 4 minus 4, that is what? 0. Square root of 0 will still give you what? 0. Beautiful. Now, if we plug in 3 here, 3 square is 9. Now, 4 minus 9 will give you negative number. The question says, where x is a real number and, a non-negative number. Non-negative number in the square root. In the square root. That means we are not expected to have what? Negative number in the square root. Therefore, what do? It means we have to look at it. All here, all real, except what? Now, all real. If we input 3 here, 3 square will give us what? Negative value. So the highest number we can put here is what? 2. The highest number we can put here is what? 2. 0, 1, 2. Now if you put minus 1, if you put minus 3 as well, if you put minus 3 here as well, it will still give you negative value inside. Check. Let's check this. If we put x equals to minus 3, now you have what? Square root of what? 4 minus. Now, this x here, minus 3 squared, it will give us what? It will give us square root of 4. Minus 3 squared is what? 9. We have minus 9, which will end up giving us minus 5. And the question says no negative number in the square root. So it means we have to have an absolute value of x. Since the negative side, if you take it, you have problem. If you take positive side that is beyond 2, you also have problem. So all real number of x, look at our x. Our x will be absolute, that is both to the positive side and the negative side, less than or equals to what? 2. This is our what? The domain. For what? The domain of what? Of g of x, the domain is what? Let's look at it. G of x is given as 1 over x plus 4. 1 over what? X plus 4. Now, if you put, since we're talking about the domain, the input, domain is what? Your input. So, if we input what? Minus 4 here, this becomes what? This becomes, if you put minus 4 here, minus 4 plus 4, that gives you 0. Then 1 divided by 0 in mathematics, that's infinity. Therefore, minus 4 will not work here. So we can conclude by saying what? Here, we say what? The domain is what? All real number of x except what? Minus 4. This is what? The domain of the second function. The next thing is to find what? The range. And I told you the easiest way to get the range of a function is to find the inverse of that function. Now, if f of x is giving us what? Square root of what? 4 minus x squared. Let's find the what? Let's find the now let's find the inverse. A quick one, let this equal to y. So we have what? Square root of what? 4 minus x squared. Now what? Square both sides. Square both sides. Square both sides. You have what? Y squared is equal to 4 minus x squared. Now CLT, collect like terms. You have x comes to this side, x squared equal to what? 4 minus y squared. Therefore, x equals to what? Square root of what? 4 minus y squared. Remember, we're going to swap this. X equals to f inverse of what? Y, which is equal to square root of 4 minus y squared. Swap x for y. Therefore, we have f inverse of x is now equal, f inverse of x now equals to what? 4 minus x squared. This is the what? The f inverse of this particular function x. So what do? It's similar to what you have as your domain. Here as well, we say what? Remember, we take our output to be y anyway. So we can simply say what? Range of y is what? All real number of x y absolute, not what? It must not be what? Greater than y absolute. That means the positive side and also the negative side. If you take minus 3 here, for instance, minus 3 squared will give you what? 9. And 4 minus 9 will give you what? Negative 5. Then the question say they don't need negative square root value. So you have to take an absolute y. So say all the number of y less than or equal to what? 2. Less than or equal to what? 2. Then we have to find as well the range of g of x by getting the inverse. When we get the inverse, it tells us the actual range of g of x. Now, g of x given is 1 over x plus 4. Now, let g of x equals to what? We can use any letter, just that we are used to what? Letter y. Let's say y. So y equals to 1 over x plus 4. Here, make x the subject of formula. We have what? Yx plus, or xy, the accumulative. So you have no problem. Equals to what? 1. Now, we are making x subject of formula. So xy equals to 1 minus 4y. Then we have what? X equals to 1 minus 4y over x. Remember, we said x equals to what? The inverse of y is what? To 1 minus 4y over x. Now, swap x for y. Now we have, here we have g inverse of what? X is equals to what? 1 minus 4x over x. What do you notice here? We've gotten the inverse, so getting the range is very simple. Since x is a real number, if we put 0 here, it will turn the entire value to what? To infinity. Therefore, we conclude by saying the range of g of x, range is what? All real number of x except 0. Because it's only 0 that turns this entire value to what? That turns it to an infinity. Now, the next question is question 2. We are asked to find g inverse. We've already done that here. You can see. And what? The next question is what? F of g inverse and g of f inverse. We've gotten the g of f, g inverse, at the same time f inverse. All you need to do is to find their what? Composite formula for us. Show your workings. Drop it in the comment section for evaluation, and let's see where we are. Like I said, continue to follow us on our social media handle, Aminu Maths Class on Facebook, so also on our YouTube, and likewise on our TikTok. You will get more interesting questions still on this topic in the next video. See you and bye bye for now.